With every missing person case in the Bible, it is so unique. And the uniqueness of this missing person case is this is the first one that we have came across in which there is a eyewitness to this man stealing. With every missing person case in the Bible, there's always an eyewitness, whether it's the perpetrator or a third party. And this is the first time that we've came across a third party who eyewitnessed this man stealing going on in the city. The other unique thing about this case is that this missing person case spends so much focus and detail into retrieving the missing person. They know where they are. They just have to bring him back home. So we're going to look today at this case that is found in Genesis chapter 14, verses 8 through 24. We have an eyewitness that witnessed this man stealing. The Bible does not give his name, but he takes the time to locate the family members of this person that has been stolen. He finds their family. It is Abraham. Abraham's nephew, Lot, has been stolen from his city. Abraham learns that it's not just Lot, but it is all of the people that live in this city of Sodom. All of these Sodomites have been stolen. These invaders have came into the city, have stolen every single individual. Not only that, all of their goods, everything of value. It would be like if you were to go into the city, it would be like a ghost town. Nobody would be there. Everyone had vanished. And the eyewitness knows who did this. He knows the perpetrators. There are several perpetrators involved. There are kings, leadership of the surrounding cities of Sodom. And so Abraham knows who did this, and now he is facing an impossible situation. An impossible situation of going up against these leaders to try to get his nephew back home. The Bible, our Heavenly Father, gives us 3 tips through Abraham's life of how to battle an impossible situation like this. You have to remember that the town of Sodom and all of these neighboring cities, the culture of that day was sick. If you had something bad happen to you, a burglary, a rape, a death, a killing, good luck with going to law enforcement. Good luck with seeing justice done in the courtroom, because the leadership was crazy, twisted. They were the kind of leadership that rewarded wrongdoing. And so this is what Abraham was going up against. And I've said this before. I haven't tested this in the New Testament, but in the Old Testament, when we are living out these stories in our lives, we are living these out in slow motion. This thing that he's doing, Abraham retrieving Lot from this impossible situation, is going to be tough. And it is going to take days, months, maybe even years. Number 1, Abraham uses his own men to help him in the retrieval of Lot. Men he could trust. This is in verse 14. he gets 318 of his servants. They were fighting men. He also he had a very good relationship, was friends with his landlord Mamre, and Mamre's brothers Ishal and Aner, and all three of these men were very good friends of Abraham. And so Abraham is using his own man that he can trust, because when this situation is being played out in today's society, there are lies that Abraham has to sift through. He knows where Lot is. He knows that they have kidnapped all of these individuals, but where are they? Have they had their name changed? Have they had their appearance altered by their invaders, their perpetrators? All of the layers and layers and layers of lies they have to sift through. And so that leads to tip number 2. Abraham had a plan. He had a plan of getting these people back home. This is in verse 15. So this took a while for him to plan out and to execute with the men that he used, the men that he could trust. Number 3, when Abraham and these men go in and retrieve Lot and all of these people that had been stolen, he retrieves everything and everybody, all of the goods that were stolen, all of the valuables. He doesn't go in there and just get his nephew. He gets everybody. He helps all of these families. And this is represented in verse 16. And Abraham is taking time out to go and fix a huge miscarriage of justice. Leadership that is rewarding bad behavior. Looking at this missing person case, there are 3 individuals that really stand out to me. Now, as you're reading and as you're studying this missing person case, your 3 individuals could be different than mine. But the first individual that really stood out to me was the tipster. The person who had eyewitnessed this event and how brave they were and courageous they were to really pursue and find the family members of the victim of Lot and to seek out justice. He was doing a very unusual thing, to call out wrongdoing and to try to fight against it. So this person was living in a town that was absent. And so for him to actually take action and move this case towards a solution is truly amazing. The second individual that really stood out to me in this missing person case was the king of Sodom. The king of Sodom was the person who ruled this city, in which all of his constituents were stolen from him, in which all of his goods were stolen from him. And this is a ruler who was crooked, who was taking the shortcuts of life. And he is getting this invisible paycheck from Abraham. Now, invisible paychecks are good deeds that a person gets from being connected to someone who has a open line, a running line of communication with Yahweh. You see, the king of Sodom, one of his constituents was Lot. And Lot's uncle, Abraham, had a very good, open connection with Yahweh. And he was the one that actually took action and brought a solution to this king's problems. It wasn't the king's other friends that were kings of other cities to help him out. This was a normal guy, an ordinary man. Nothing extraordinary about him. He was just an ordinary man who loved his life, who loved his invisible relationship with Yahweh, and he took the time to bring and was able to retrieve Lot and all of these people back home. And the thing is, the king of Sodom never did take the time to notice this invisible paycheck. This solution to his problem. And because if he had, he would have been very grateful. There would have been a pivot in his life, and he would have changed the way he did leadership. But he never did. The third individual that stood out to me in this true crime case is Abraham. You see, the reward money that the king of Sodom had didn't go to the tipster, but it went to the people who brought the victims back home to their families. That means the reward money went to Abraham and all of his people, but Abraham didn't want the reward money. He said, "You can have it, king of Sodom. You can have it." Because he knew the king of Sodom's mind twisted, and that he would turn this around and make it to like Abraham had ulterior motives for doing this. So he was like, "You can have it." He didn't even take his reward money. But he said, "For the time that these men traveled, we will take a food stipend, and my landlord and his two brothers, I'm not going to speak for them, so if they want their portion of the reward money, they can." But Abraham did give a tenth of his portion to the church, to a priest. And so, but he did not profit any from the reward money himself. And so this missing person case is very, very unique. And if you have a friend or a family member who has been missing, I pray that this true crime Bible case will bring you a fresh new lens to look at your current case and will bring you a solution. That's my spiritual food for you to munch on the rest of the week. I can't wait to see you next time.